my baby boy. You're back. I'm so happy to see you. Please don't boom your brain this time. Or give the wrong enchanted blade to somebody. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do too. Have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact, we got Hakuri back. I don't know why. I think last chapter had so, like, that's the thing. Like, I was really reflecting on last chapter. It was packed with stuff. Like, and I think that's why Hakuri coming back kind of like flew underneath the radar for me. But this is crazy. I don't know. I love Hakuri. He's basically our deuteragonist. Like, I know some would say, well, what about Shiba? What about Shiba? We've known this man since like chapter 1, and we still don't know anything about him. Like we're all confident his sorcery is teleporting, but even then, I feel like that's still not the full capabilities of it. I feel like there's still things we're hiding, or things are still being hidden from us about Shiba, to a point where I still don't fully trust the guy. But regardless, my glorious, juicy, scrumbly up king, my baby boy, my son. My son Hakuri, he's back. I'm interested to see how much more powerful he's got. I wonder if this is going to be like a Dragon Ball scenario, where after recovering from like a near death or very dangerous mental experience with his sorcery, if he's going to get amps, or, because this is Kagurabachi, and the one thing Kagurabachi likes to do is take your expectations of shonen and take a hammer to your ankles, and it was going to shatter my ankles. So let's not waste more time, and let's hop right into chapter 79. Yeah, baby. Chapter 79 of Kagurabachi, which does not have the name of the chapter on the first page. So let's take a look in a book. Reading Rainbow type beat. How can I help? Take it easy. First, let me introduce myself. My name's Kudo. Mr. Kudo, how can I help? You know what? Hakuri reminds me of a young me. And admittedly, you know, this is going to sound old and jaded and mean and cruel. But hey, I'm old and jaded and mean and cruel. Back in the day, your boy used to jump at any opportunity to help anybody. Like, the most specific thing I remember, all the way back in my high school days, but all the way back in my high school days, the English teachers had made an offhand comment. Like, it was completely random, and it was like towards the end of the year, the teachers made an offhand comment about like, hey, you know, like the English book room is really jacked up, and I don't know, I wasn't gonna get any volunteer hours for it. Like, there was no motivation other than, oh, it's tedious and y'all don't want to do it, I can help you. And I literally spent like 4 days, like it was like second to last week or like third to last week of my high school year. I forget what year it was. I think it was like sophomore. No, it was sophomore year, because I remember I was going into junior year. But with it being the case, it was that like last 2 weeks. I spent 4 days just going through it, and it was a whole like wall-to-wall books, and it was a mess in there. And I had help for like the first day, because another classmate of mine also overheard. I was like, yeah, I'll help. But then it was just me. I don't know why, I just did it. Why? Because I just like to help. And admittedly, I still do like to help, but like, I don't know. I think I just got older and jaded and cold. Or like, I'm now, it's less that I'm not asking how can I help, but if you reach out and ask me for help, I'll say yes. Like, admittedly, I don't know. That's how I was raised. I was like, as long as I have the capacity and you ask in advance and I can plan around it, yeah, I'll help. But back in the day, I was just like, Hakuri, like, I am desperate to help. Please give me a task. I promise I'll complete it to the best of my ability. Let's see. Mr. Kudo, how can I help? Take it easy. Next, let's assess the situation. Okay, I wasn't this bad. Was I? No, I wasn't this bad. Let's see. Then again, you know what? I think he does feel guilty, right? Like, I'm assuming having this in just because Hakuri's like a really nice kid. But also, it's because, like, he probably knows the whole situation with Samura and is like, she had, like everything that could have gone wrong. Like, let's be real. Murphy's Law jumped all over Hakuri, man. That man risked everything, including his own sorcery, just to make sure they get Enchanted Blade, just to make sure he could save all those people, only for someone to be like, hey, I'm evil, kinda, at least in this moment, don't worry, I'm actually not, I'm a good guy. But like, he went out of his way to absolutely violate and ruin everything. So maybe Hakuri's a little bit hyperactive on helping because he feels a bit guilty. Let's see. Calm down. As the broadcast stated, there's an enemy attack. The Hishaku? More than likely. I did not realize how tiny this guy is. He reminds me of, which lord is it? Is it the 7th lord? Is it the 7th lord? I've been reading Ordeal, and admittedly, Ordeal has one of the sharpest quality rises that I think I've ever read in something. I don't know why. Initially, I was reading it just for the art, because I'd seen the art here and there. I was like, let me just read Ordeal. So I caught up on Webtoon. But like, season 1 is a mess. I'm not even gonna sit back and pretend like season 1 has, I mean, has some good writing, but it is a mess. Season 2 really picks up, and season 3 so far has just been like straight peak after peak after peak. It is a lot though. Like season 3 is a lot, like a lot to the point where, because it releases weekly, I sometimes forget what's happening, and then despite that, because it releases weekly, like nothing will happen in a chapter. I'm like, yeah, like what is it? But with it being the case, I've been reading Ordeal, and there's a character in there who is extremely powerful. Like, the lords in that universe are, like, some of the strongest in the verse. And he's also really small. And it reminds me of Mr. Kudo here, who is super tiny. Because remember, Hakuto isn't actually that big of a guy. He's, like, 5'6", 5'7", 5'8" at best. So him being half Hakuto's height is actually kind of crazy. Let's see. The Shaku? More than likely. Chihiro Rokuhira is detaining Samura at the moment. Detaining is a strong word. Detaining is a real strong... Like, detaining, I think he's stalling. He's not holding nothing. Samura could just leave in an instant. Once again, we cut away from that last chapter, so I really am wondering, what is Samura's choice going to be? And what is Chihiro going to elaborate on, right? Because right now, Samura has two paths. He can either completely keep down the path of vengeance, slaughter Chihiro again for doing with the Enchanted Blade, keeping to his promise like, hey, I'll boom you if you ever wield this again. The unspoken promise, admittedly, by letting him keep N10, but just essentially soft telling him, don't wield it, or else I'll boom you. So he could go down that path, boom Chihiro, but obviously Chihiro's the main character, that's not going to happen. So there's the second path. Well, actually, no, there are three. There's a second path of him just quitting, giving up on his mission, and then going to just live out the rest of his days with his daughter, and, trying to enjoy the rest of that time since he made a mistake and his daughter wants to see him again. Or three, he could do both, where Chihiro and him end up working together, combining the power of 2 Enchanted Blades, possibly 3, because I completely forgot you can be contracted to multiple Enchanted Blades. Chihiro was simultaneously contracted to the remains of Cloud Gouger and N10 at the same time, so we could get someone wielding the Kumeyuri and the Tobimune, alongside Chihiro wielding N10, and they, alongside a possible hyper-trained up Hiyori who joins because, she wants to see her dad, and her dad wants to take her under the wing, at least to keep her safe and keep her close at hand. That trio ends up rallying against the Hishaku. So there are definitely slow down. There are definitely a couple different paths that Samura can walk down. So the real question is, what path will he walk down now that he has a chance to choose? Let's see. Chihiro. Yeah, I feel like Hakuto's a little bit guilty. Let's see. If they're here, the Hishaku's targets are the Shinichi and the Swordmaster. If they get their hands on both, it'll be the end of this country. Yeah. Like, once again, as much as I do like Yura, I like him as an antagonist. I would not trust... I would never... This guy's out of the way. I would not trust Yura with the broken pieces of Cloud Gouger. That's how little I trust Yura. Like, genuinely, I don't trust that man at all. Keep him as far away from the Shinichi as possible. Don't get me wrong. The Swordmaster's a terrible person, too. They're an awful human being. But I don't, like, Yura scares me. With how much he's been able to accomplish with just straight sorcery, stats, and his organization, I am horrified of what that man could do if he had the power of a literal, like, any of the Enchanted Blades, really. Let's see. But, hopefully, it won't come to that. That's where you come in. Huh? Here so you can help. Huh? He's like, wait, I can fulfill my role? And, like, to go back on the whole idea, like, I was having a conversation with a friend, my brother from another mother. It was actually not even last week or the week before that. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks, or like nearly a month ago maybe at this point. Because man, it's been a minute since we had this talk. But we were talking about like purpose and identity and who we are and how we define ourselves. And ultimately, he is the way he is the way I was. And I think there are aspects of me that still are, where he's the person that's defined by his ability to help and serve others. Ultimately, he feels basically not useless, but he doesn't feel as good as he could unless it's helping others, fulfilling that purpose of his to be of as great assistance as he can to as many people as possible. I used to be that way, but then I read Blue Lock and became selfish. No, I'm kidding. But then I don't know. I had a perspective shift later in life where I was like, what do they say on airplanes? Make sure you help yourself before you help others. Yeah, and obviously, that isn't fully true because my family will, like, kind of always transcend me, even if they don't want it to. I'm like, you need something? And I'll fall to heaven. Oh, you're on the other side of the planet? I don't care. I'll fall there. But with it being the case, outside of that, I definitely mellowed out a lot. So, I do think ultimately, it really is what you define yourself as and what you're okay with. personally, I just viewed the whole idea of dropping anything and everything at the drop of a hat for another person just wasn't a good thing, and so I was like, let me not do that anymore, and that's like I didn't. But in that talk I had with my homie, he brought up the idea of like, yeah, you know, sure, there are like bad things that come with it, but at the same time, there's just a whole lot of good. You feel good, and it's essentially him fulfilling that purpose makes him happy. And helping people does make me happy, but not to the same degree where I'm like willing to throw myself at other people's problems, like the way I used to. And like, way he still does, it worries me. I just worry because of the stress of that. Like, you already have enough natural internal stressors living your everyday day-to-day life. Taking on the stresses of other people on top of that, that's not, sustainable isn't even the word. It's just not smart, at least in my opinion. Let's see. Here, so you can help. We want you to teleport the shit. What? To where? To where? Let's see. We want you to teleport the Tsunuchi. Huh? While you were unconscious, we resealed the Tsunuchi. It's in a similar state to before the Rakuzachi. Very impressive. I know it's been a little bit in universe, but still very impressive to be able to reseal it that quickly. Especially considering it took the Ishaku years for them to crack it. Let's see. Huh? If we can completely isolate it in a subspace, the Ishaku will have no way of getting it. Yeah, but you won't have any way of getting it either in case something happens to Hakure. It's a gamble. It's a gamble. That's the thing. I wouldn't want to seal it in a subspace that can only be accessed by one guy. That's real bad. Like, if anything happens to Hakure, then Shinichi's lost. And then, you know, that in a macro sense, that's unironically a good thing. Like, that completely erases any chance of the malediction. But at the same time, I don't know. That's a little rough. That's a little rough. I do get why sealing in a separate dimension would still be the safest play to make sure it doesn't get into the Ishaku's hands, right? Like, ultimately, as nice as it would be to have the powerhouse of the Shinichi and its swordmaster in one spot at all times, it's just better to keep one out of the hands of the Hishaku. And obviously, the swordmaster himself is just more expendable. Like, it's unfortunate, but if anything, I too would also choose to teleport the blade. Because while the man can control people through the blade, he himself is not the blade. He's just chilling in that room. So ultimately, yeah, the smarter play is to do what they're doing here and have Hakure teleport out the Shinichi. Even if that's I'm just saying, then again, it's Hakure, right? Like, obviously, macro narratively, we're not going to boom Hakure. But like, in universe, the risk of Hakure getting boomed is a little bit too high for me to be like, maybe we should teleport it into your subspace. Oh, the warehouse. When you overuse your sorcery, you are hanging by a thread, and your access to the storehouse dwindles. Ah, okay. So by access, does it mean it's hard for him to open a portal, or is the storehouse itself smaller? Because we know he has a separate storehouse to the one that his family carried for a long, long time. So, I wonder. What's it? Your access to the storehouse dwindled. How do you know that, though? Let's see. We barely managed to save it by transporting a portion of your nervous system that governs you to your other source. Oh! We barely managed to save it by transplanting a portion of your nervous system that governs Iso, your other sorcery. You mean your sorcery is alive? But wait, wow. Huh. How did they do that? Like, so I guess, I forget. Was it explained? I remember they had the guy who had the exploding dolls. Like, they did explain sorcery to some degree to us then. Did they explain that it's like stored in specific parts of your head or nervous system? Like, how did you know which ones to take and which ones not to take, and where to plant it? Like, I don't know, that's kind of interesting. But alright, so Hakure, I mean, any excuse to have Hakure still having his powers. I think it's better for him to have powers than to not. Because, you know, you don't have powers in the battle manga. You're probably not going to be relevant in the battle manga. Let's see. You mean your sorcery is alive. But you've lost a little bit of both abilities, Iso and the storehouse. Oh, so they're limited? But it's simply, we won't really completely know until you do a test run. This is only possible because your unusual constitution allows 2 types of sorcery. If you ever do it again, you could completely lose both. That is, so that's interesting. Hold on. In fact, we're going to put the feet up and we're going to think. Hold on. Let me stay in frame. The feet are going up. We're going to stroke the beard. Oh, I'm not fully in frame. There we go. We're going to stroke the beard and we're going to think. So, stay in frame. There we go. Yeah, we're in frame. Hopefully I'm close enough to the mic that I can still be heard clearly. But let me think. In this case, what is the equivalent here? I guess it's like taking certain parts of your body and translating them to another part of your body. But I wonder, since his sorcery is still alive, it's still saved, I do wonder, does he have the ability to train both back to their peak levels, right? Like, say, for example, you get a kidney transplant. once the kitty adjusts to your body, as long as you have a stable donor, it can be just as powerful, or even more powerful than your original kidney, as long as you treat it right. So I wonder if the same thing can be the case for Hakuri's sorcery, where it's like a muscle where he can train it right back up to its old point. The only reason it's lower now is because of the specific fatigue and stress it underwent. Or if it's now permanently locked at those levels. It really depends on how long you think Kagurabachi is going to be. If you think it's going to be like a 200 plus chapter series, I'm assuming Hakuri could still train it up like a muscle. But at the same time, maybe not? It really depends. It really depends on what direction Hakuri wants to take. If he's going to stick in a support role, and Chudo's still just going to be our main fighter with maybe a little bit of Iori in there as another main sword fighter, then maybe he can just stick in support. Then again, both of his talents, both of his magics can be used offensively. His sorcery does have that multi-purpose application. So I feel like him getting stronger through repeated usage, just like you get stronger whenever you train a muscle, that does seem to be like if not the most valid stratagem. Or not stratagem, writing choice in particular, just so Hakuri can continue to be relevant over the power creep. And then again, Enchanted Blade's gonna make everybody relevant, so we'll see. Alright, feet come down. Time to lock back in. Let's see. If you overdo it again, you could completely lose both. Honestly, it was our fault for putting you in the position right after the Battle of the Rakuzachi. Well, I mean, yeah, in a way. But then again, they didn't need him, right? Ultimately, the main goal at that time before Summer flipped was to protect the Sword Bearer. So if they lost all the Sword Bearers, that technically would still be a bad thing. Let's see. No. I'll be honest. Why am I still out of frame? I'm gonna get in frame for a minute. Girl, I want to be in frame. Let me get in frame. I'm still out of frame. How does this keep happening? Hold on. It's because I keep putting my leg up. But let's see. I mean, yeah, it was a bad choice, but I do still get why they made that choice in that moment. They needed all the power they could get. They just didn't know that Samurai had a couple visitors over the years. Let's see. No, I appreciate what you did. I can still be useful. Please, take me to the Shinuchi. I keep saying Shanuchi. It's Shinuchi. My bad. Sorry for every single time I mispronounce it. And who knows if that's even the correct pronunciation. But that's the thing. I do like that. Once again, the main thing that Hakuri struggled with. And I may be getting some details wrong because it has been a little bit since the Sazanami Clan arc. But the main thing he struggled with is that ultimately he was never viewed as valuable or useful to anybody. Right? Specifically his own father, his siblings, none of that. Like, they all viewed him as the worthless one of the litter, essentially. So, of course, he's very, very happy that he doesn't just cower and hide. Now he can be on the front lines in his own way. Now he can support directly in his own way. He can still be useful. He can have a role to play. And when you've been role-less, except for a role of this absolute bereavement and negativity, yeah, any sort of utility does get praised. Or any sort of want or desire for something does get praised. But, once again, be careful with that if you are a person like that who struggles with, like, the ability to get confirmation or affirmation. Let's see. Okay, but let's take it easy. We're on our way. Oh, but the enemy's here! We gotta go fast! Like Sonic the Hedgehog! Don't you realize where you are? We're not in Sega headquarters, man. You're gonna have to get sued. Well, West entrance, underground level 1, Kabunabi headquarters. Okay. West entrance, underground level 1, Kabunabi headquarters. Oh, there we go. All right, chapter 79, threat, with 2 exclamation points. Interesting. Oh, okay, so we have new Hishaku members, I'm guessing? I see the tattoo. Let's see. Let me see. Let me just. I'll give them generic voices until I get a look at their appearance. Then I'll see if I can assign them actual voices. Let's see. Hey, this is the Kabunabi headquarters, right? Let's infiltrate so easily, and there isn't a single person to ambush us. They've got important stuff stashed here. Why would they leave themselves so open? It must be a trap. They can't scare us with their traps. Keep going. All right. So they're able to tell that something's up, something's vicious, something's evil, something's diabolical. But they're like, yeah, whatever. They're randoms. They ain't got that. That's an interesting mentality to take. Honestly, because notably, the Hishaku so far, if I had to pick a word to describe them, it's been pretty diverse. Like, we've had people all different backgrounds and body types and shapes and abilities, support or otherwise. So I wouldn't be shocked that there are just some Hishaku members who just don't care. They're like, whatever. Some light, even though they know, like, this is the organization that's preventing their leader from kind of doing whatever they want. Like, it is legit just the Kabunabi that stands between Yura and, like, absolute domination of the entire nation. And by proxy, probably the world, with the Enchanted Blades. Let's see. Oop, alright. Everyone's tapping. Tack. Let's see. Okay, new guy. What voice am I gonna give him? I've worked at the Kabunabi headquarters underground west entrance for... Whoa, slow down. I've worked at the Kabunabi headquarters underground west entrance for 18 years. Ever since the Kabunabi's inception, I've been the commander of this zone. Whoa! Wait. That's weird. The Kabunabi's inception, you've been the commander of this zone? So the Kabunabi's only been around for 18 years? What? Something about that doesn't sound right. In fact, I think that's literally impossible. That doesn't make... Is that? Am I interpreting that wrong? Ever since the Kabunabi's inception, I've been commander of this zone. I've worked at Kabunabi headquarters underground west entrance for 18 years. That would imply that the Kabunabi's only been around for 18 years. But that literally can't be the case, because the Kabunabi was around before the war. Right? Right? And, like, the war was, I believe, 16-ish? No, it was more than that, because Iori was born after the war. So, what? That's a little... I think that must be like a mistranslation or something. I worked at Kabunabi headquarters underground west entrance for 18 years. Ever since the Kabunabi's inception, I've been commander of this zone. That, I think that's wrong. Because the Kabunabi's been like... It's like the government. Like, there's no way that's only been around for 18 years. Maybe I'm tweaking. Let's see. Before the Kabunabi, there was the... Oh! Okay, never mind. Okay, so it looks like... Wow, Kabunabi's only been around for 18 years? Why does that feel so wrong? Huh. Alright. Before the Kabunabi, there was the Counter-Sorcery Army. During the Seitei War. Yep, that's what I was thinking of. The Kabunabi was created as an emergency response to the threat of sorcerers from Shokoku. Ah, okay. Okay. So the Kabunabi isn't the government. It's a arm of the government. And the Kabunabi was created as an evolution of a previous core. Okay, that makes more sense. I guess that, at least in my head, I always had the Kabunabi just, like, in the position of the government, because they make all the governing choices, they organize sorcery, they control the Enchanted Blades, which are the most powerful weapons in the universe. So, like, I thought they would just be the government, but no, it looks like they're just a small subsection, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. To entrust one part of an organization with that much power? Actually, that's like a little bit bonkers. Well, let's see. During the Seitei War, the Kabunabi was created as an emergency response to the threat of sorcerers from Shokoku. Originally, it adopted the Army's ranking system. It's discontinued now, but a person's former rank tells you a lot about their abilities. Ah, interesting. Huh. Okay. General officers, field officers, junior officers, warrant officers. Okay, interesting. But a person's former rank tells you a lot about their abilities. Okay, so their former ranks from the Seitei War. Back then, I was a second lieutenant. Okay, so lieutenant commander, second lieutenant. So he was a junior officer back then, so you must have been fodder, I'm guessing. Let's see, back then, I was second lieutenant. In other words, I have significant martial experience. Okay, I have no idea about anything about army rankings, clearly. Because I thought junior officer, well then again, officers in general. If you're an officer, you're pretty high up. But alright, second lieutenant, let's see. In other words, I have significant martial experience. Everyone stationed here on this level does. We're prepared to deal with an emergency attack. However... okay, why are you not prepared now? What, the Hishaku scary? Ooh, their aura, their presence, their girth. Wait, what is it? What does it say? We have 7 enemies with elite fighting abilities. They're believed to be the Hishaku. 3 attackers are coming your way. Code Mouse. Repeat. Code Mouse. When an enemy infiltrates the facility, he can sense their threat level. Code Mouse means that our forces here aren't sufficient. Oh, okay. You know what? Yeah, never mind. I can't believe it. Because like, that's bad. Like notably, there are definitely cases where in history people have overcome impossible odds, right? Like stranger things have happened in history. But if you're opening up with, yeah, you're literally gonna die because your forces are, yeah, I understand the fear, the terror, the horror, like everything that can go with that. That's really scary. All right, let's see. It means that our forces here aren't sufficient. We're sending counterforces to underground level 1, central area. In other words, our mission is to direct the enemy towards the central area without engaging them in combat, to avoid unnecessary casualties. Okay. So they aren't even, wow. Well, you know, I mean, I guess that's a good thing and a bad thing. That means they aren't even there to, like, stall. They're literally just there to play guide. Which sucks. Is like, it's a little bit disrespectful to their capabilities. But hey, I mean, I suppose when you literally aren't built for the position, you don't have the forces to do so. And right now, the whole goal is to avoid top ground damage and centralize the battle deep inside the Kagurabachi in order to make sure that everything can be safe. I guess that's a role you gotta play when you gotta play it, man. Like, you don't really have a choice in the matter. That's rough, though. I can't imagine, especially considering this guy was a second lieutenant, pretty high up, gosh darn it, martial experience, and everyone here has that. That's gotta be rough to hear. You're fodder, they're not, you cannot take this. And notably, it's just 3. So this whole unit that's guarding the entire west entrance can be taken down by just 3 people. So that's gotta be real rough to hear. Just as anybody, right? Like, especially if you had any sort of respect or any sort of belief in your own abilities, simply hearing that 3 men will give you absolute back shots, or 3 people will give you absolute back shots to your whole crew, yeah, it's gotta be rough. Let's see. One of them is clearly Hishaku. Oh, okay, only one of them. He has the emblem on his hand. But the other 2. Huh? Ooh, what's this? What's this? Okay, oh. Okay. So these are non-Hishaku members. Alright, I mean, then again, though, we know the Hishaku is willing to recruit anyone as long as they take the paycheck. Let's see. The commander was horrified for a good reason. The Hishaku were accompanied... The commander was horrified for a good reason. The Hishaku were accompanied by the Shigyu brothers. They remind me of... Well, not exactly, because nobody... The brothers I'm thinking of, the Kurama duo, what were they called? The Gold and Silver brothers. What were they called? They were eaten by Kurama, and they ate Kurama's insides. They ate Kurama out, and then they became infused with the chakra. I forget what they're called. But I guess the appearance of this guy still reminds me of them. But notably, they're a little bit too diverse to actually be a straight copycat of those 2. But very interesting. All right. We're getting these 2 non-Hishaku members actually getting some hype. So maybe they're going to do something? I don't know. We'll see. I think ultimately we have 7 Hishaku to establish and build up. So maybe these guys are just like stall. Or maybe this is another non-combat sorcerer that they're escorting, right? Because we know that Todo is not a combat type sorcerer. She's a support type sorcerer. But she's still a member of the Hishaku. So the one Hishaku member who's here who has the emblem on their hand may be another support type who's there to do something. But they're called attackers. So I don't know. We'll see. Don't worry, Hishaku. You don't need pay us. They come from an ordinary family, and yet they once butchered 11 Kagurabachi, including officers. Oh, okay. Okay. Thing is, though, like, that doesn't really mean much. So far, like, no offense to the Kagurabachi, but, like, I don't really have... And I may just be forgetting, but I feel like I don't really have, like, a solid gauge for the Kagurabachi strength level for that to mean anything to me. Like, what does it mean that they slaughtered 11 Kagurabachi officers? Who's officer tier? Like, let's be real. The only levels of power we have are top tier sorcerer in the Hishaku and the enchanted blade wielders. Saying they slaughtered 11 Kagurabachi officers, especially considering I'm assuming this is supposed to be impressive and why we should fear them and why this guy's fearing them, I have no idea what that means. Like, who are officers? Were the people who were meant to guard Urho, were they officers? Were they higher tier? Were they lower tier? I don't know. But then again, I may just not be remembering stuff. Because once again, I've only read Kagurabachi like once, so I may be missing something. If this is meant to be more impressive than it seems, please let me know. Let's see. We don't give a darn about the Shinichi or the Sword Master, as long as we get to Rampage. They're fodder. They're fodder. The reason I'm saying they're fodder is that if they have no motivation in a series like Kagurabachi, they're getting boomed. The question is, how long are they going to last? That's what I mean, how long are they going to last? Sure, you butchered 11 nameless randoms. Congratulations. But you don't have any reason to be here. You don't care about the Shinichi. You're not getting paid. You just get a rampage. Okay, buddy. Both of y'all. Let's see. Maybe not all the Hishaku are fighters. Oh, yeah, yep, that's true. So that's right, they would know that, but it's true. Maybe not all the Hishaku are fighters. Well, those 2 would more than make up for it. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Right now, our presence is hidden by the force field built into our grid. As long as we don't make a sound or emit hostile energy, they won't sense us. We can avoid a battle. Let's see. He was flooded by a wave of revulsion for good reason.
His nephew was amongst the 11 who were slaughtered.
I'm gonna be a great man like you, Uncle. Starting today, I'm finally Kabunabi. I can devote my life to protecting this nation too. Once again, who is this guy? Like, I don't know. What the sorry, maybe I got. Let me detach from the power scaling part of my brain. Let me slide back in and lock back in. It's like the character writing, narrative aspect. I mean, I feel bad for him. Tough nuggies, bro. You lost your nephew. That's rough. That's rough, buddy. to quote my glorious Kizuka, that's rough, buddy. But like, I have no idea who this kid is or like who this guy is. So like, I'm not sure how impressive that is. I mean, I feel bad for him that his nephew was slaughtered, but this is one of the soft issues about Kagurabachi. We'll introduce characters, either say they're supposed to be strong or hint that they're supposed to be something, only for them to not be anything. So what, is this guy getting slaughtered by the Shigu brothers? I'm guessing? Let's see.
Yes, our job is to protect the nation. I can't expose my troops to danger based on my personal feelings.
Yeah. Especially considering you don't have to. Like, notably, I don't know, I'm bad. If I was told I didn't have to fight, I'm not fighting. Let's see.
Focus on commanding.
Yes, they're here.
Don't tell me he picked up on that subtle energy.
Hey, any hostile energy. So, but you know, okay, that's good. High sensory abilities. Let's see.
Seriously? Your detection abilities are insane.
Oh, okay, so it is just the older brother. Or one of the brothers. 23, no, 24.
Should we waste them?
Do as you please.
How on earth? Despite our force field, he detected our exact numbers.
That actually is pretty impressive. Notably, we've seen in universe that you can actually suppress your energy pretty well. And for this guy to presumably be close, but not too close to them, and be able to, okay, so interesting. The Shaku members in samurai armor. Interesting design. But, have we seen that design before? I feel like we may have. What do I feel in that flashback of the death of Kunishige, what do I feel like we've seen that design before? I remember seeing like a woman's design with like pigtails and maybe samurai armor, or at least like the samurai visage, but I may be misremembering. Let's see.
Ugh, now we have to engage.
No. They're pitiful insects. They're not worth our time. Let's keep going.
Darn! Once again, I have no reference for their power or any reference for these guys' power, but that's embarrassing. Really? Really? They literally aren't even here for anything, but they're like, it would literally be a waste of stamina to engage with you guys. You're that fodder. You're that doo-doo water. You're that booty meat that it's not even worth. Yo, now I gotta fight you on principle. It's not even worth engaging with me. They're pitiful insects. That's sad. You gonna let that slide? You gonna let that slide? You gonna let that slide? You got a box. You got a box. Man, forget it, commanding. Now it's just a matter of principle.
Oh. Forget principle. Looks like he's fodder.
I felt relief.
How pathetic. Come on, Kabunabi headquarters. Hope you'll offer us some decent entertainment.
My nephew's murder spared my life. Ugh.
Darn.
Well, maybe we'll see this guy again. He didn't get killed, but that does seem like a random. But then again, I'm assuming this is all, once again, to hype up the Shiyu brothers. I don't know, so something about them gives interesting character designs who get fodderized in the Kagurabachi universe. Like, I don't know. They're not part of the Ishaku. They don't have any motivation. I feel like they're gonna get boomed. Let's see. 3 assassins. Central area. Underground level 1.
As of now, 3 enemies have entered, and the other 4 haven't entered. The other 4 haven't yet. Oh, interesting. So 4 of them, presumably Yura amongst them, is holding back. Or, well, maybe Yura is with the tree guy, and they're all attacking down.
Who's this? Thanks for the report. No gloves. I'll do this barehanded.
Oh. Oh, who are you? Who are you? Oh, it's AZAMI. He's the guy who's supposed to be comparable to Shiba, right? I remember he was like the Shiba equivalent before Shiba ended up officially leaving the Kabunabi, even though Shiba's back working with the Kabunabi. So like, so we're actually gonna get to see what this guy can do. Presumably, once again, he's here to fodderize these two and possibly this third Hishaku member, but I think it's mainly these two. So, okay, so I'm guessing a little bit of build up, and then AZAMI here to flex him and show him off a little bit. He's gonna absolutely body bag the Shiyu brothers. Let's see. Kabunabi headquarters, central area, underground level 1. The threat elimination. Oh, interesting. So they have a literal spot for it. The threat elimination grounds. Executioner Soshiro AZAMI. In the counter sorcery land forces, he rose to the rank of colonel at the tender age of 18. Oh, so he's about 36. And how high was colonel ranked? So we saw second lieutenant. How high was colonel ranked? Okay, so he was right beneath the generals. Okay. So he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's 5 whole levels above Lord, above this guy. All right, AZAMI. So I'm guessing Shiba was on a similar level too, and that was 18 years ago. So presumably he's on the level like major generals. Well, let's see. Soshiro AZAMI. Oh, they playing music? Okay, interesting. What a racket! Is that supposed to be intimidating? Yo, bro, stand up. Why you always crouching? Again, I've seen you for like 2 pages already. You're just still crouching. Let's see. Is it supposed to be intimidating?
Finally, someone worth our while. I know this guy. He's Batman.
No, sorry. He's good. Okay. So we get a little bit of glaze for AZAMI. Off rip. Let's see. But once again, this is Shishaku member. Interesting that they're wearing samurai armor, but their arms are unguarded, seemingly entirely. Oh, is that ice or fire magic here? What's he forming around him? Crack. It seems like maybe ice magic. Let's see. He's good. Yellow chains! Ah, interesting. So, ice spears and chains. Let's see. They actually did manage to attack AZAMI. They're fast. Ah, but he got ensnared by the chains, but he dodges the ice attacks. Let's see. Thrown into the air. They're about to double gank him. Oh, alright. The executioner was livid. He'd questioned Shihiro in depth about the incident. Uh-oh. Oh, and look at that. Yeah, okay. So these two exist to be fodderized. Alright. But look at the Shishaku member. They're staying back. They're simply watching because they're like, I'm not built for this. Or at least, it's not worth fighting with these two who are just going to get themselves boomed. Let's see. Huh? Oh! Sorcery my foot! You just punched the guy! What? Oh, yeah, hey, he is the big brother. He is the older brother. But alright. Jeez! So he broke through the chains to punch the older brother directly in the face. Darn! Did he one-shot him? Let's see. Big brother! AZAMI's fighting style is assault and bat. So they said, AZAMI throws hands. That's all he does. Alright, let's see. AZAMI's fighting style is assault and battery. The enemy's small tricks don't work against sheer power. I wonder... Oh, and he looks like he's about to eventually violate the second brother too. And that looks like that's what this is. But I do wonder, does the music have anything to do with that? Does the music amp him? Or is it literally just here to distract? Like, I don't know. But that's very interesting that they have the musicians and his power associated with that. Obviously, he has to be a sorcerer of some kind. He's in the Kagurabachi. So I wonder if that, like, the more music he listens to, the more noise there is, the stronger he gets. Or if he really just is, at this time, at all times, this powerful. Let's see. Sheer power. Interesting, though, that he's very... Well, I guess he would be mad at the Hishaku. But I guess possibly... Well, no. I know Shiba was a friend of Kunishige. And that was the case. But maybe AZAMI was also a close friend of Kunishige, and he's kind of been waiting for all these years to actually get revenge against the people who took away his friend's life, and that's why he's so livid. Because nobody, this is the most, outside of Chihiro himself, this is the most angry we've ever seen someone be at the Hishaku for the murder of Kunishige. Let's see. Yo, why he got the oh, is that part of the mask, or is he actually stashed up right now? Interesting. So one arm is bare, one arm is not bare. So he's only half armored. Let's see. No chest armor either. Let's see. He's Hishaku. Probably the ones responsible for Rokuhiro's attack. When Shiba detected the attack, he arrived in under 10 seconds. But the Hishaku finished their job in that brief moment. Oh! Wow. Okay, so Shiba... So that does... once again, this is a second-hand account, so once again, maybe Shiba didn't actually show up 10 seconds later. But... in that case... that they are... Well, then again, it was 10 men versus whatever forces were guarding Kunishige and Kunishige himself, who didn't seem to be a warrior. So, maybe it's not too impressive, but still 10 seconds. Getting attacked that done before Shiba could even get there. Remember, he teleports. Very impressive. When Shiba detected the attack, he arrived in under 10 seconds, but the Hishaku finished their job within that brief moment. The 3 Hishaku who killed Rokuhiro were the best of the best. These two losers don't compare. Okay. So once again, showing the level of the Hishaku, right? Like the Shigyu brothers, random fodder who were able to scare lieutenant class officers, but nothing to the higher tier sorcerers in the Kabanabi, and nothing to the Hishaku themselves. And he notes these two losers. He doesn't identify this guy with them, even though he was traveling with them. The rule of the elimination of the threat elimination ground. He literally pasted their heads. Okay, man. He really said no gloves because we want to get all nice medium personal with. Okay. The rule of the threat elimination grounds is that threats die here. AZAMI, please don't die.
We're just gonna introduce you, Dot. If you're the closest we're gonna get to Shiba skilling, please don't die. Alright, let's see. So it's probably gonna be a 1v1 against. And maybe I am remembering this guy, right? Because he says the best of the best. These two losers don't compare, but looks at this guy, and he says, we finally meet. So, presumably he may have context for this member of the Ishaku, who could have been responsible for Rokudo's death. Remind me if I am forgetting, if I'm making up the whole idea, my memory's just lying to me about the whole there being a guy with a samurai fit in the flashback with Kunishige. Because I do forget. Would that be the case? Alright. Calm down. Right! I'm gonna calm down. But alright. A W little chapter. I'll admit, it's, hold on, a W chapter, but I will say it is a tiny bit redundant, because we already, but then again, I think this is more so, despite being a chapter that's also hypes up the Hishaku and their capabilities, it's very much meant, considering we haven't seen Shiba fight in a while, right? Well, like, we didn't even really see him fight too much during the Sazanami clan arc, and we definitely didn't get to see him through the entire Swordmaster arc and then the little mini Summer arc we were just under. So maybe we've forgotten what it's like for the high level Kawanabi members, so we needed a reminder. So ultimately this chapter is built to do that. It reminds us and shows us what's up with Hakuri, gives us a good update on that, feeds into Hakuri's new role to transport the Shinichi, that's what he's being, or the Shinichi, that's what he's being transported to do. Then we get introduced to the Shigyu brothers, who are high-level threatening sorcerers relevant to lower-tier Kabunami members. We get introduced to, essentially, the Kabunami ranking system. We get to meet a second lieutenant, someone who was a second lieutenant for 18 years at this point, so presumably he, just like I assume that Azami's gotten stronger from his colonel rank, obviously, I assume this guy's getting stronger from second lieutenant rank, but we get introduced to the Shigyu brothers, who are meant to show off the raw level of power of sorcery available in the world from non-Ishaku members, showing essentially possibly mid-tiers or high tiers in the verse, and we get to see these mid-tiers and high tiers absolutely aura farm on a guy who was a lieutenant, only for Azami, someone who's been hyped up to be relative to Shiba, another top-tier sorcerer, which implies he's only, like, relative to Ishaku members or just beneath Enchanted Blade wielders, to be shown up and show out against them so he can quickly fodderize them, show off his raw power, and establish the top tier of what the Kabunabi has to offer. Because the last real showing we've gotten of that, at least explicit showing, was Hiyuki. And once again, we've barely actually seen Shiba fight. So, I admit, the chapter does work. Mainly, I was going to say it was redundant, because it feels like we're just hyping up the Ishaku all over again, but no, what we're doing is we're setting up Azami as a character, setting up the high-tier sorcerers in the verse as a character, especially considering we've been in Enchanted Blade Land for a while, even though he wasn't wielding N10 for a little bit, with the advent of Kumiyuri and all of its abilities, the revival of N10, obviously someone in Tobi Mune, and even before that, we've been in the Enchanted Blade top tier, top line, highest level of the verse for a while. So we do need to more so establish this more middle ground of the high tiers and the top tiers. Which overall, good work. Fantastic work, Hokusono Sensei. But if you made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave here die threats. Yeah, I'm saying it. Leave here die threats in the comment section down below. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that all the case posts you not miss out on any news that comes to the channel. Also, even have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1. Come on, you things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks include the live reactions here in the series time to review, ad variations of all my videos. And if you become a $12 patron or a $12 member, you can order whatever video you want. Also, double link to my co-founder in the description down below. You can drop 5 cents for a short video, 29 videos long video, or any means at all. Any support is always greatly appreciated. Now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our sketch tier members: Eternal Flame, Red Wolf 4765, Astro, Super Flame Zero, Glacier XZ, Zara, Brandon Payne, J2MA, Gyomi, Yuki Ally, Buddha Uda, Azo 2404, Planet Crone, G Prosper, Nevis 97, and Ali. I'd like to give a big old thank you to our line art tier patrons: Sean, Nirvana Igneal, Midnight Lord 21, Kevin Encarnacion, and A+A. And I'd like to give a big old thank you to our Ink tier members: Fine, Austin Wimberly, Euchia, Carlo Alaimo, and Grim. And then I'd like to give a big old hefty thank you to our digital art tier members: J Warrior and AZ Void. And then I'd like to give a big old thank you to our colored art tier
patrons, Wakimunos and Wakimunos. And then I'd finally like to give a giga super duper kidney sacrificing thank you to our ultimate, that guy with a heart on the horizon, Calvin Elder.